Today we're going from this to this. Follow along as we break down this DIY Art Deco furniture restoration one step at a time. Welcome to Montford Boulevard. We're here to celebrate Art Deco by breathing new life into vintage furniture. All of our finished works are for sale in our store. You can find the link in the description. There seems to be an endless amount of pleasant surprises with Art Deco furniture. The first thing we noticed with this piece was the contour. The curves are reminiscent of some of the vehicles and automobiles of the same era. Art Deco was everywhere in the 20s and 30s. First off, we're going to give this thing a good wash. Fortunately, it wasn't as dirty as some of the other pieces that we come across. And I was noticing the thick quality wood that they used to build this. However, something funny, even on the finest Art Deco pieces, we often see things like this. Look at this, where somebody just bent the nails over and kind of smashed the wood with their hammer. For starters, we've got some puzzles to solve here. We pulled apart a vanity again, and you can see some of these notches that we have to deal with in order to patch the back. This board was from another piece of furniture, but it's going to work nicely on the back here. You can see it from the other angle here. So first step, I'm going to make a horizontal cut to get the right height. Oh look, it's Scaredy Cat. Scaredy Cat is a wild cat that's too scared to come say hi. Oh well. There we go. Now I'm gonna mark for the notches that are gonna be cut out. So, interesting fact here, this is actually the heaviest Art Deco nightstand we've ever worked on. It clocks in close to 50 pounds. It's just all of that quality solid wood that they used when they built this. We can definitely work with that. Now we're going to work on the side waterfall curve. Now this doesn't need to be precise, but you want to leave a little bit of excess. Just about like that. So I cut that with the bandsaw as well. Slides right in there. And this is just about what we're looking for. Now I'm going to sand that edge and bring it down and try to get it perfectly flush. That's looking pretty good, pretty smooth. And I used wood glue, pre-drilled the holes, and we're attaching the back. So preliminary step is complete. Now we've got this gap to deal with. Found a piece of wood that fits in there pretty tightly. Get in there. There we go. Cut that with the bandsaw. And that'll do for starters. Now we're going to deal with these gaps in the side where it was attached to the center section of the vanity. So, as usual, I'm going to cut some strips to fill in the gaps. I'm using 2-part epoxy because it dries faster, 5 to 10 minutes. Then we're going to come back in with some body filler, which, again, another 5 to 10 minutes. That'll be ready to sand. So here we go. Found several other little pock marks and scratches to fill before we sand. I'm going to use 3 different sanders here. In my last video I was complaining about my sander, but really it's just the orbital I need to replace. This belt sander is pretty loud though, but hey, can't complain. It'll get the job done. Really need to be careful when you're sanding veneer. It's so easy to cut through it. but I always prefer sanding to stripping. I just like to get a fresh start with the wood. Looking pretty good. Got it this far with the sanders, and the rest I'll do by hand, getting in the corners there and all of the trim. Okay, now we're going to finish sanding the corners of the drawers. And we're going to go right to stain on the drawer faces. We're using Colonial Maple here. Look at that bird's eye maple on the front, and that's genuine inlay wood in the center. Really spectacular. Book match drawer front here, looking beautiful already. And we've got a couple coats of satin clear over top of this now. Those drawers are just glorious. So we've decided on these handles. We had them saved from another piece. Come apart pretty easily there. We're going to take the Bakelite off, clean it with some Windex, give it a good scrub. Look at how that polishes up. Now we're going to use the wire wheel on the grinder here. Again, referencing kind of that automobile aesthetic of the 30s. Look how nice that looks, just like the day it was made. Okay, now same thing, that Colonial Maple stain. We're going to do the front waterfall and the top, and also the sides. Not the side waterfall. It's really a good color for this piece. Look at that already. Okay, now since the previous screw holes from the last drawer handles are going to be covered, we're going to use wax with the burn-in knife. That's the burn-in oven there. But this color matches really well, and since this isn't going to be a high-use area, the new handle is going to cover over top of that, so this wax with a little bit of lacquer will be enough protection. Drilling the new handle holes. We released a short video showing the technique for that. This is a water-based polyurethane. Gives a really durable coat. You can do lacquer over top of water-based polyurethane, but not water-based polyurethane over top of lacquer. We found that out the hard way. Now normally we'll use a vinyl lining inside of a lot of the drawers that we work on, but look at this wood. This is so beautiful, so we're just going to leave it natural with varnish over top of it. Now I'm going to hit the bonus side waterfalls with a black stain. This is a gel stain. Might seem like a bold choice, but black seems to go so well with the natural wood in Art Deco pieces. This is the shoe. And unmasking that, and you can already see that beautiful contrast. So the center of the shoe, we're going to use natural stain for, contrasting the black with the natural. Now we've got a little bit of touch-up on the drawer fronts. We're going to use Lacquer Powders with French lacquer. Mix up the right color. This is really a complex book-matched wood on the drawer front. Adding a little bit more orange here. And that looks just about right. Sealing that with lacquer. Now we're going to go over the sides of the drawer with lacquer. look at that wood. That is so gorgeous. For the sides, we decided to add some trim. I cut these strips of wood. They're about 3.5 inches wide. And we're going to put 2 pieces of trim on each side. Pretty primitive technique here, but it does work. I found a lid that's actually the exact radius that I want for this piece of trim. So that'll be my pattern. We're basically just sculpting with wood here. Whatever works, works. Gonna sand that now and get the edges nice and smooth. I'll sand the face as well to make sure there are no splinters or anything. I then used the same black stain over top of that trim. And a bit more touch-up here. So you'll see this pattern a lot in Art Deco furniture. This is another form of lacquer veneer, and you need to be careful because it's kind of delicate. Getting off a little piece of paint there. This is 800 grit sandpaper with some Windex. We need to really make sure we don't rub through this effect because that'll be a lot of work to touch it up. But look at that. Basically 100 years of just grime coming off. Look at that, it feels so much better already. But we do have some wear to deal with here. So first we're going to get the base color. Match that yellow, kind of brownish color that's underneath. Then the black stripes that go over top. Just using a touch-up marker for that. Clear coat with lacquer. And everything's going to get a coat of lacquer, actually. Now, on these corner caps, I'm actually going to make them solid black. Seal them with clear lacquer. And on the back edge, we're going to add a band of black, kind of like a border. So, again, this is why we save wood. This is going to work out really well for a backsplash. This is from, I can't even remember what we saved this from, but the effect we're going to go for here is kind of a stepped pyramid. I'm cutting out 1/4 inch steps. Just like that. And this is going to need a fair amount of hand sanding. And here's what we're going for. Kind of getting those smooth edges in the front around the sides as well. Pre-drilled my holes, and I'm adding black lacquer to this as well to continue that band that we put around the sides. Here we go. Some unmasking. Always a pleasure. See that natural wood and black popping. So we've got some wear and some sanding marks on this trim that we're going to have to address now. Using the lacquer powders again, matching the color. And we've got this gap where the trim doesn't continue. And this is another case where wood we've saved from another project is going to come in handy. See these 2 pieces here? It's a pretty close match. I'm going to use the grinder to knock the edge down a little bit. It's kind of slanted there and I need it flat. And it's also a little bit too thick. So I'm going to thin it out here. And that's close enough. Cut those pieces off, and I'm going to use 2-part epoxy to glue them in there. Once they're dry, come back in with some body filler. Sand it just a little bit. And some lacquer powders to match the color. Adding some metal feet to the bottom of this piece, we pried off the old ones. And we're getting ready for the backsplash now. I'm gonna sand that edge just to make sure the glue really adheres. Here's our backsplash. Adding the screws, and then I will fill that with some body filler. Before that dries completely, I'm going to come in with a razor blade just to shave that a little closer. Save some time on the sanding. And then some straight black lacquer powder. This is compatible with the black aerosol. Seal that with some satin. And we are pretty much done. It's so much fun to see this piece before and what it turned into. The contour, again, is what really makes this piece. And it was really fun to freshen that up. As always, this piece is available for purchase in our store. Thank you for sticking around to watch the process. We have some really intriguing furniture pieces coming up, stuff that we haven't done before. So if you haven't, please subscribe. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this, we have another Art Deco furniture restoration video you might appreciate. You're welcome back here at Montford Boulevard anytime.